What is up, everybody? We are back with another banger episode today. We got a few things to say before we even get into the topic of today's live video for the Basketball for Knowledge podcast. Our brother Juice will not be here today. He's currently in the hospital. Uncle Ramon will be on his way to Florida to go see him and be there for him. Let's just all take a second to just pray and make sure that he actually has a fast recovery.
Yes.
And that he is able to come home and be just be able to move around and be able to do stuff, because he's actually fully recovered. He's actually he's good to go. Yeah. I don't know why he's in the hospital, but that don't matter. As long as he's alive and he's kicking it, he's doing good. That's all that really matters right now. So all the viewers, all my fans, pray for Juice, and then that's all we can do for right now, is just pray for his recovery. That's all we can do. But in the meantime, it's just me and Brandon right now. So we're gonna be breaking it down, the draft of 2026. I did miss the draft, but I do have the draft first and second round on my phone. I will pull it up in a second. We will. Well, first, before we cover the draft, we're gonna talk about the trades real quick. So let's go ahead and turn the music up real quick. Brandon, I'm sure you've seen the trade so far.
Oh yeah.
So, what trade do you want to start off first? Because I got a few.
Yeah, let's start off with the Giannis trade to Miami. And I think that was expected. Because number one, Giannis didn't want to be there anymore. Number two, it was up to Miami and or Boston that was going to get his services and everything. And Miami came out with the best deal. According to Milwaukee's from Milwaukee's standpoint. So there was no surprise to me that he got traded to the Heat. The only thing about the trade to me was that he had to give up Tyler Hero. I think he was their best shooter, and now they need to go and build and find more shooters to complement Bam and also Giannis. But I think overall, it was a good trade for both parties, actually, because Milwaukee got a bunch of draft capital from that trade that they used this year. Actually they had the 13th pick when they the 10th pick rather, where they picked Brandon Berries, the guard from Arizona. I thought that was a pretty good pickup for them. But I was really surprised though that Boston didn't that Milwaukee didn't trade with Boston to get Jaylen Brown. So I thought Jaylen Brown would have been a key component for Milwaukee. They could have pretty much built around him and everything, but we can talk about Boston in a moment here. But I think overall that trade right there, Giannis to Miami, it was expected, and I think it was a good trade, for both parties, in my opinion. And like I said, the only thing is that Miami does have to fill out that roster with shooters, and I know that Pat Riley, who is a legend, GM, president of basketball operations in Miami, I know he's going to do his due diligence, to get the right players to build around, Bam and also Giannis. So what are your thoughts on the trade?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, and I said this last time, Brent. You weren't able to hop on with us last Saturday, but right. It was me, Juice, and Ray. We talked about the Giannis trade before it even happened. I physically said that he was gonna go to Miami because he would team up very, very well with Bam. You got Bam at the 4, and you got Giannis at the 5.
Right.
Okay, and that already fits well. Which regardless, you're gonna have to give up somebody, which they did. They gave up Tyler Hero. They gave up a few good round picks to Milwaukee, leaving them a good chance to see what they're gonna do in the draft pick of 2026.
Right.
So with all that being said, I love the the Miami trade. I love that one. The one that I love the most is seeing Minnesota get a point guard.
Yeah.
Seeing LaMelo go to Minnesota, I feel like that was gonna happen regardless, because I've heard talks about LaMelo being traded away from Charlotte and going to another team.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen rumors of him going to go to State, him going to. I believe there was four teams that he was going to go to. I didn't see Minnesota. I didn't see it just because that wasn't in talks at all. Nothing was said about him going to Minnesota. If it was, I probably missed it. But surprisingly, he fits with Minnesota because that backcourt will be a monster. Because not only does he have Gobert, he has Jaden McDaniels, and you gave away Julius Randle to the Nets.
Yeah,
which is probably, I'll say that's your best option because he's not gonna do very much with Minnesota. Right. So replacing Melo with Randle was probably a good way for me. That's just my opinion. I'm not a Minnesota fan, so to all Minnesota fans, I don't know how you feel about LaMelo going to Minnesota. If you feel like that is a good pick for you guys, then by all means, go ahead and have fun with that. I just know that Minnesota is going to be a fun team to watch next season. I'm looking forward to see how Melo and Ant can work together. Because now that he has a true guard, Ant doesn't have to rely on himself anymore. I feel like that's just I feel like that's the up and down. Because the downfall was he didn't have because Mike Conley's old. I think he's 40-some years old maybe. Hold on, how old is Mike Conley?
Yeah, he's up there. I know he's got to be at least in his late 30s, early 40s, if that, and definitely late 30s. Yeah, so
yeah. You're definitely right because he's 38 years old. He's 38 years old. Yeah, so I definitely believe, and I know some people are probably saying like we have Mike Conley, but bro, like Mike Conley is. He's not gonna give you 15 a game. He's not gonna give you 20 a game. LaMelo is gonna give you higher digits.
Yeah.
Okay, but on top of him giving you higher digits, the man is he's like 6'8" tall, maybe.
Tall, he's a tall guard.
He's tall. He's a tall guard who can dish the ball at a higher level. I'm not gonna compare him to Magic, but I see a small resemblance of Magic in him. Because because the way how Magic was playing in his era, he could play every position.
Yeah.
He could defend, he could play the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But the way he passed that ball was magical. Because when he was able to dish that ball to his teammates, score the ball, the same way with LaMelo. But the way how LaMelo's playing, he playing the street ball style. He kicking it, shooting it from half court, he just making every, and he's contributing to the team by dishing the ball to his teammates, make sure they get their shots in, making these crazy shots, and they just going right in. Like he's not like, I feel like that if he brings that to Minnesota with Ant. I feel like that team would be. I would say Minnesota would be top 6 in the rankings for playoff round. I feel like they'll be top 6. I'm not gonna say top 5 because top 5 is Denver, OKC, Knicks, and I would have to say Boston.
Yeah,
Boston. Those teams are ahead of Minnesota right now.
Yeah.
So they're not even close. And what that team, they won't even beat the Knicks. I'll say that they won't beat the Knicks in the playoffs. They won't beat OKC. Denver maybe. Boston maybe. But I just say Minnesota got a good trade. There was another one. Hold on,
let me speak on that trade as well. You know,
okay, go ahead.
Here, because I was surprised because I haven't heard any rumors about. I've heard rumors about LaMelo being traded out of Charlotte, which kind of surprised me because if you looked at the course of last year, Charlotte was one of those surprising up and coming teams in the NBA. If I remember correctly, they did make the playoffs or something along those lines and everything. And I thought they had a bright future and everything with with LaMelo at the helm and everything. And to see that there was rumors that they were going to trade him, that caught me off guard because, like I said, they were, to me, a really up and coming team, in the East, where they were competed with the likes of Boston and the Knicks, No, not right now. I think they were going to be like a few players away, a few key components away to being real contenders. But trading, LaMelo now, I don't see them as, a contender now. I see them as, maybe just making a play in next year, depending upon free agency, of course. But as far as LaMelo going to Minnesota is concerned, you did it right on the head. I think that was a great trade for Minnesota because it gives Ant-Man, the point guard, it takes a lot of pressure off of him, to be to do everything, if you will, So I mean, you have a compliment, scorer, passer, to Anthony Edwards, and I think overall, I think that was a really good trade, for them. As far as Minnesota is concerned, I can see them, in the West, competing with, the likes of, OKC and, you can't forget San Antonio. Can't forget about the Spurs and everything, But, like you said, I mean, Denver is up there as well. It's going to be tough, in that West, man, with these, with that trade and everything. But I think Minnesota's going to be a fun team to watch. I think they could be a dangerous team, in the West and, surprise a lot of people. I mean, granted, they've been a good team since Ant-Man's been there, but, I think even more now, I think they can be more explosive. From an offensive perspective with Melo there. And of course, we know what Ant-Man can do and everything. So it's going to be interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely can see, because Ant is going to play how he want to play regardless. And Melo's going to play how he want to play. It's just and on top of it, you have Gobert, and as much as a defensive player he is, and as long as that team can stay healthy too, because I know, because I don't remember the last time Melo has gotten hurt. I mean, he's got hurt a few times in Charlotte, but I think I haven't seen an injury report on LaMelo. Ant has always been healthy, so you don't have to worry about Ant being hurt. Don't have to worry about Melo being hurt. I think the only logical terminology is Randall being hurt. So I think giving him away would probably help Minnesota.
Yeah,
because he barely did anything in the playoffs. I'll give you that. He barely did anything in the playoffs. It's Ant's teams and Ball. He's the main one carrying that team. Maybe he played on an injured leg. I remember seeing where he popped that knee in, and he playing with an injured knee. So that alone just shows you that, like, where and Jaden McDaniels, he helped them beat, what was it, Denver? He helped them beat Denver.
Yeah,
and they moved on. And then they ended up losing. What was the second round that they lost in?
Yeah.
I believe, second round they lost. And that just shows that, like, where was Randall all those times? Like,
right.
Where was Randall? I mean, I get it. Minnesota has McDaniels that they got, and and Mike Conley, chimed in a little bit. Gobert chimed in a little bit, but if you have somebody who is a good scorer, Randall's a phenomenal scorer.
He
So
is.
let's pause that real second. You got to everybody has to understand. To anybody who doesn't know the original Randall from when he was playing with LA.
Mm-hmm.
Back when Kobe was still around and LA drafted Randall, even Kobe said that Randall got that dog in him.
Yes.
He got that dog. Kobe said that because when he was going up against KG, he had that dog in him. He that boy, and then and the way he could score, and then when he got traded to the Knicks, he was doing the same thing, scoring. But then he started getting hurt, and then when Knicks needed a big, and then they needed somebody different, they traded away Cat for Randall. Yep. Randall started cooking in Minnesota, and then later on he started getting a little worse. It just shows that Randall is not the person you want to rely on.
Right.
When when it comes to this certain point in time, and the most important time of the playoff round, it is very, very important that you have to, keep it together and just not fall off. You got to get back on that ride. You get back on that bike. Keep pedaling, keep going until you get to a point where you're about to get a ring. You don't let go. You keep going.
Right.
To get that joint.
Absolutely.
And then seeing him in Brooklyn, I feel like it's a fresh new start for him because Brooklyn is a young team.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to rebuild. So having someone like that in Brooklyn, maybe they could do something. But it was also a 3-team trade, sending Nick Claxton to the Bulls.
Yeah.
So you're giving Chicago another big. Chicago is a really good team, to be honest.
Yeah, they are really good.
I feel like they just gotta keep building. That's all they gotta do until they find somebody.
Yep.
If they can get a vet over there, I promise you, Chicago will probably be up there again.
Yeah, and speaking of Chicago, I know we're going to talk about the draft in a minute here, but I really like what they did. When they picked Caleb Wilson, the forward out of UNC, North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel fan. I'm not trying to be biased, anything like that, but I think overall, looking at, the draft and everything, I think Caleb Wilson has some serious upside to be, the best player that's coming out of this draft. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have, Cameron Boozer, who's, a good player, a great player, AJ DeBanesta, the first round pick to Washington. Then you got, Darren Peterson. I have concerns about Darren Peterson, his health and stuff like that. But I think overall, Chicago really, really got a treasure in Caleb Wilson. And I think that if they do build, bring in the veteran, like you said, to that team, I really think that they could surprise a lot of people next year also, as long as they can stay healthy. And like I said, build the right way. I think they can, maybe even, battle for a playing spot, next year, or even make a playoff, a playoff run, maybe in the AC, maybe. So it all depends and everything. But yeah, I think Chicago is really, starting to look up and everything. So yeah, so we'll see.
Yes, yep. And I just looked up who you was talking about. You talking about Caleb Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Caleb Wilson, yep. And they just got they drafted Dalen Swain, first round pick, first round 15 pick.
Yep. Dalen Swain, yes. Yep.
That's another one too, yeah. I feel like Chicago has always been a really good team since Michael Jordan has won 6 rings with them. Mm-hmm. And since we got another player who was somewhat close to greatness in Chicago City was Derrick Rose. Yeah. The last person to be great in that city besides MJ is Derrick Rose. So
Yep.
for those who don't know who Derrick Rose is, and I'm a Derrick Rose fan myself. I love D Rose, the way he scores that basketball, the way he dunks, the way he shoots it. His playmaking ability is elite. His ball handles is tough. But the fact that he had a season injury that kind of ruined his whole career.
Yes.
Now, everybody was wondering what had happened if he had never had that injury.
Right.
He would have had a ring already.
Yeah.
He became MVP. He was born he was born in Chicago. Got drafted by Chicago. First young MVP in Chicago, but then got injured, and I'm just like, dang man, like what if he was not injured? He would have been nice. Would have been nice. He got traded to so many teams, but he was still giving buckets. I'll give you that. Chicago still has a bright future. They just still got to keep building. I definitely think Chicago will find a piece. We'll find a way to get them going. Let's go with. Let's talk about LeBron for a second before we get into the trade. Let's talk about LeBron's offer. So this just came from Bleacher Report. So for all the fans who don't know, I do like all my sources come from Bleacher Report, ESPN, Sham, and that's about it. Because Sham puts the truth out there, so anything comes from Sham, it is real. Okay, Bleacher Report, same thing too. ESPN, same thing too. But the first thing that pops up on my phone is Bleacher Report. So if you know it's real, it's Bleacher Report. So he has no offers. So LA has not really given him no kind of offer. So how do we feel about him being traded from LA? Like what team would fit him if he leaves LA?
That's a great question because I think that even at 41 years old, LeBron can still contribute greatly to a team. I've seen different scenarios where they talked about him possibly going to my wife's favorite team, the Golden State Warriors. To team up with Steph and everything, considering the fact that they teamed up, in the Olympics, 2 years, was it 2 years ago? Yeah. And, won the gold. So that was one place. And I've heard a lot of people, say, another team to look at is the Detroit Pistons. Bringing in that veteran.
He will fit well with Detroit.
Yeah, I think he will fit well with film and everything because they're a young team. And I think that he can, give them, that championship pedigree, that championship experience, to make it over the top and everything. So Detroit, and of course, I've heard Cleveland, going back home to Cleveland.
Cleveland's another team.
Yeah, Cleveland's another team as well. And I think that, those are things that I've heard, it's tough, like I said, everything could probably use some and everything, but I think those things that we just mentioned there, I think that, he will be, a good contributor, I would say that, trading him to a contender in the East will probably be the best thing because, I don't think that, if you're, the Lakers, you don't want to trade him to Golden State. That's one of your rivals. Right.
Yeah, that's gonna set boundaries between LA and
exactly. So I would say if you do trade LeBron, trade him to somewhere, in the Eastern Conference, So that's my take on it. And as a Laker fan, would I want him to stay in LA? Yeah, I would like for him to stay in LA. But, given the fact that, he's not getting offers from LA, that leads me to believe that, LeBron may be on his way out. Another thing I want to mention to you, I saw social media and there's some fans out there that says that, they want him to come to the Knicks. And I'm like, I don't know about the Knicks right now. And they just won the NBA championship with, and granted, Mitchell Robinson maybe, leaving for free agency and everything. But I don't know about that would be great because LeBron in New York City and Madison Square Garden would be great. But, as of right now, I'm not sure about New York and everything. But I'm pretty sure about, Detroit, and Cleveland as teams in the East that could most likely that'll be a really good fit, for them, considering the fact that these are championship contenders. They were 1 and 2 in the East last year. They just need to be that veteran presence, that experience, that championship pedigree, to get over the top. So one of those two teams I think can use LeBron absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna have to agree with you on him going. If the offer is up for Cleveland Cavaliers, okay, where he first originally started off at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he got drafted at the age of 16.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of 16, he was with the Cavs. Dominated, came out the league. Nobody knew who he was. But then when he came in dominating in his first game, people were like, "Oh, this kid LeBron nice." And then he started progressing, but he started losing games. Went to Miami, South Beach, winning 2 rings back to back. Losing, went to the Cavs, lost, won 1 ring, lost, came to LA, won, and then continuously losing every single time. So if you're sending it, so if it's a do or die time where he has to either play 1 more year where Bryce comes into the league, like Uncle Ramon said that like he gets another offer, he plays 1 more year, bring his son in, call it wraps, and if he gets a ring, then he does. But if he doesn't, at least he got both his sons in the league, and he's gonna wrap it up and call it retirement. But I don't see his future in LA. I feel like because he hasn't had any contact with LA since then, since the season has been over, and he hasn't received no offer lately. Because I think what LA is trying to do is because they just re-signed AR. They just re-signed him after trading him to Brooklyn. And AR gave his comment. He's like, I don't know how to feel after being, because this is the same thing with Dalton Connect, because when he got traded to Charlotte for Charlotte's big.
Yep.
Didn't realize that he failed the physical test because he was hurt.
Right.
So when they brought back Dalton to Connect, he gave that same comment. It's like, well, it's just a weird feeling. I get traded by LA and I get drafted by LA and I get traded.
Yeah.
It is a weird feeling that you get drafted by a team, you're playing with King James, and you all of a sudden you get traded, but then you get brought back, and then you're asked to play. But then your head coach will be like, I understand, how you feel, so we're gonna sit you out. And then he sat out for a few games, came back in, still playing. But it is a weird feeling to come back after being traded. So I can see how AR felt about it, the same way how Dalton Connect felt about it. It is a weird feeling. But once you break away that feeling, you just go back to how you've been playing. It's just as simple as that. So him going to the Cavs, I feel like Luka needs somebody he needs a really good defender.
Yes.
He needs a big. Okay, they really don't have much over there.
Right.
I think that's just the downfall, and Ayton is barely doing anything over there. So I feel like if they get a guy like Jared Allen, which I saw on here, that the Lakers would kill to get Jared Allen in a hypothetical signing trade for LeBron James. And this is from Brian Whithorse. Says there's a thought process out there in Los Angeles, and I think if the Cavs were interested, then the Lakers would sit up in attention right now that they will sign and trade LeBron for Jared Allen. And I think if the Cavs were willing to do that, they could have LeBron. Obviously, LeBron would have wanted to sign with the Cavs. But if your pathway to pay LeBron the money is to trade Jared Allen for him, the Lakers would kill for Jared Allen, kill for him. All right. They would do that deal in 17 tenths of a second. So sending Jared Allen to LA would probably be good for Luka. Because Jared Allen's a monster.
He is.
Like everybody in the comments put that down. We all know Jared Allen is a monster. Okay, we've all seen it, and but we could have seen more of Jared Allen if it wasn't for James Harden or Mitchell not stepping up.
Right.
Because and that's another player too we're gonna get into before we get into the draft.
Okay.
But yes, same LeBron to the Cavs, and then whatever big they have behind Jared Allen, just make him that big. And then because I feel like they're gonna make that team LeBron's team because wherever LeBron go, he's a star player in that team.
Yep.
That ball is gonna be in his hands too.
Yep.
You got Harden at the 1, you got Mitchell at the 2, okay.
Yep.
And then whoever's your 3, your 4 will be LeBron, your 5 will be whoever's your 5. Okay.
Right. Yep.
So, and then Jared Allen goes to LA. Jared Allen will be the 5, whoever's the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Air at the 2, Luke at the 1.
Yep.
And then I assume that where LeBron goes, Brian is gonna go with him.
Yeah.
So I assume Brian is gonna get some shine light too, and Cleveland maybe. And if Bryce comes, I think LeBron's gonna try to get him to come to. It's gonna have Cavs draft him up, but you never know. Bryce, another team can pick up Bryce.
Right.
So it's just a small guarantee on what will happen. But nothing is said so far about LeBron. Golden State Warriors. My team personally. We're looking to see on because we just drafted a young fellow so far, but we're looking at more trade opportunities between Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan. I seen this yesterday. It says the Golden State Warriors interested in trading for Domantas Sabonis or DeMar DeRozan in order to move Jimmy Butler's $56 million expiring contract. Kings have made Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan in available trade talks as the franchise looks to move in a different direction.
Wow.
So those two are in trade talks right now, and then Golden State is right on that table. Golden State can move around those people. Okay, so we just picked up Al Horford, we just picked up Porzingis, we picked up Jimmy Butler, right? And we just signed a rookie from Michigan, who just recently won their finals
championship. Yep.
The best piece to fit in that room, I want to see DeMar DeRozan in there. I want to see DeMar DeRozan because I feel like, and people are saying Domantas Sabonis, but the relationship between him and Draymond would probably not be good.
Right.
Just because of that moment where he stepped on his side. We all seen that when Warriors versus Kings. That was a brutal fight. But I would love to see DeMar DeRozan team up with Curry. Love to see that. Because he can score more better than Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know he's just a very precision scorer. So I would say I would pick if Jimmy's contract expires, you go out your way to get DeRozan. You couldn't get Paul George, but at least you can do is get DeMar DeRozan. That's all I'm gonna say. I would prefer DeMar DeRozan on our squad, along with Porzingis, Al Horford, the rookie, Curry, Draymond, Pods, all of them. DeRozan would fit well with us. That's all I'm gonna say.
I can see that. I can see that. You know, DeMar DeRozan being, you know, a Golden State Warrior, and I think, you know, for me, you know, the concern is, you know, Jimmy Butler's injury. You know, how because, you know, torn ACLs. You know, people say that, you know, well, looking at being a sports fan, you know, for most of my life and everything, and seeing these guys, you know, have these serious knee injuries and everything. Yeah, they can come back for a year, you know, but they're not really the same, you know, as they were before the injury. So it really takes them 2 years to really be fully back to where they, you know, were and everything, or better and everything. So my concern with Golden State is Jimmy Butler's, his health, his injury, you know.
Yes.
You know, like I said, that's a serious injury there, and I wish him well, and I hope that he does come back, you know, stronger and better than ever and everything. But those type of injuries, you really do take time. You know, they say, you know, it's a year, you know, and everything, but in reality, if we really take a look at it, you know, but you have some rare, very rare instances where, you know, guys came back better than before. You know, Adrian Peterson in the NFL, who tore his ACL, then he came back. You know, I think ran close to 2,000 yards, if I remember correctly, and everything. You know, but that's very rare. You know, so it's gonna be interesting to see, you know, how Jimmy Butler comes back after, you know, that injury.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Okay. All right. Are we ready to get into the draft?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Let me pull up. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're gonna start out with round one results. This is the 2026 NBA draft. Now, everyone, I'm gonna read off the list. I'm gonna read off the top 5 list, okay, and then I'm gonna have my co-host, you know, react to these names and see what he thinks on these players being drafted to the team.
All right.
Okay, so of course we're gonna start out with the number 1 pick, AJ
DeBasta.
Huh?
Yeah, AJ DeBasta.
Yeah. How do you feel about how you feel about him going to the Wizards?
I think that was expected. You know, I think he was, you know, the best player coming out of the you know, out of the draft in a lot of respects and everything, you know, considering, you know, what he did with BYU, you know, I would have, you know, I would say it was between him and, you know, for me, it'll be like the best players come out of the draft would have been him and also Caleb Wilson, if Caleb Wilson didn't get injured, you know, injure his thumb, you know. But I think that Boston, you know, got a great player coming out, you know, of BYU. I think he fits well with, you know, Trey, you know, and I think this is a young team that's, you know, that's going to continue to build and everything, you know. Of course, they're not there yet, you know, but I think that they did get, you know, because they also, it was looking at, you know, all the draft coverage and stuff like that. It was between like him and also Darren Peterson, you know, who will go first and things of that nature there and everything. And I think Washington got, you know, the right choice there. Now, you know, on paper, but we're gonna see when, you know, when the rubber hits the road, when, you know, play starts and everything, you know, to see. That's what the real test is there and everything. But for the draft, I really like what Washington did there by drafting him, first overall.
Okay. Okay. So I do have the Wizards potential starting lineup movie. Trae Young. Trae Young did re-sign with the Wizards, so he's
Yep.
still there. I think he got a max contract, I believe.
Yep.
Kaishan George will be the shooting guard. You got AJ Demonesta as the power forward.
Mm.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got him at the small forward. Anthony Davis at the four. You got Alex Sarr as the five. That is the potential starting lineup. That's if the season started right, that would be the lineup.
Yeah,
as a potential.
and that's a formidable lineup. I think that would be a formidable lineup, depending on Anthony Davis. Depending upon if he's going to be healthy. Because being in LA, yeah, he won a championship with the Lakers and everything. But one of the knocks on him is that he's injury prone, and so yeah. So I'm thinking this all going to depend on Anthony Davis. If he does stay. I think he will and everything. And two, if he's healthy. But I think that's gonna be like a formidable, starting five there.
I could definitely see AJ Demonesta starting.
Yes,
I could definitely see him starting because they got Cooper Flag starting in Dallas.
Yep.
Just because of how great he is. Yep. Okay. Going Darren Peterson, Utah Jazz.
Yeah, this was suspected too because like I said, it was between AJ Demonesta and Darren Peterson. My main concern with Darren Peterson is his liability. His health. I think he's a great player. But I just think that my main concern is his health, because I think he was out for a while at Kansas and everything, out for a few games,
okay.
And your best thing you can do for a team is be available. And that's going to be my major concern with Darren Peterson is his availability. Now, when he's available, he looks like the best player in he looked like the best player in college basketball. But, when he was hurt, not so much because he was unavailable. So I think that it was expected. It was expected for Utah to draft him and everything. I think that it was a good pick for them. But again, my major concern is the liability. The injury. History.
Okay, well, I'm sure Darren Peterson would find a way to make that all work out, as well as him, staying healthy in his run with Utah Jazz. There is another issue though. Darren Peterson, after learning his high school and college jersey number 22 was taken on the Jazz, says that he would consider wearing number 8 to honor Kobe Bryant. Peterson says he recently got a Kobe tattoo on his shoulder. So that is very him wearing number 8 to have remembrance of Kobe Bryant. That just shows that his favorite player is Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
that shows his favorite Kobe Bryant, and I don't know. That number. Nobody has worn number 8 in years since Kobe Bryant has passed away. We see people wear 24 is nowhere on the court for any team, to be honest. I don't think I've seen anybody wear 24 at all or 8. But seeing that his number 22 is gone, is taken, I think the 8 will look good on him.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to think that just because he has the 8 on, he has to be like Kobe, move like Kobe. No, 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 no.
No.
Okay, he chose number 8 because what he said, because to honor Kobe Bryant. He's
Right.
going to honor him, not to, because I know he's gonna get hated on too about this.
Yeah.
I can already imagine that he's gonna get hated on because somebody's wearing the number 8. Oh man, oh Kobe won't do that. Kobe won't do this. I need y'all to shut up.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
a young kid
Yep.
with health problems. Okay, just because he's wearing number 8 doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything because it does, but just to him, he's doing it because he honors Kobe. So anybody can wear 24. Anybody can wear 8. But one thing you can't wear is in LA because that number is retired.
Yep.
Same thing with Magic's number. You can't wear Magic's number because it's retired. Same thing with Hakeem Olajuwon. All the star players in LA is retired. You can't wear them jerseys unless they let you wear it.
Right.
Then that's a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
But he's playing with the Jazz, wearing number 8. So that's a different concept. That's a different scenario. He can wear number 8, and just play yourself. Just play how you feel. If people are talking about you wearing number 8, don't worry about them. You focus on your game, and you honor Kobe's legacy by wearing number 8.
Yeah.
Okay? So I like that. I feel like 8 looks good on him. Cameron Boozer.
Cameron Boozer to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yep.
I like that selection for them. I mean, I'm of course being a UNC fan. I can't stand Duke. But I give respect. Respect is due. I think Cameron Boozer is a great player. And I think he's gonna do some great things in Memphis there. I think my thing with Memphis is what they're gonna do with Ja Morant. As I've heard rumors that that they're looking to trade him.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
So I mean, they need to really get something in return. Some value in return, and possibly build around Cameron Boozer. Because I think he's going to be a great player for them. Like I said, there's pretty much no surprise to me. How the draft flowed as far as the first 3 picks are concerned. I saw Cameron Boozer could have been anywhere in the first 3. I could have saw him as the first overall pick or even number 2 to Utah, but I think this was a good, like I said, I think it's a good pick for Memphis. But I think, like I said, my question is, as far as Memphis is concerned, is what they're gonna do with Ja Morant and how they're gonna build around, Cameron Boozer if they decide to say, we do want to go ahead and build around, Cameron Boozer. How are they gonna do that?
I just don't know what team they're gonna trade him to, because Ja Morant. Because I mean, we did talk about this, about where would Ja Morant go. We said this in the last podcast Saturday. Mm-hmm. We're thinking the Spurs, maybe Spurs. I think we said Minnesota, but I'm not. But he wouldn't fit well with Minnesota just because they're both gonna need the ball. Ja's gonna think that it's his team, but it's really Ant's team, and he's gonna get pissed off playing with Ja because he's gonna take over Minnesota, and that's just gonna be a riot.
Mm-hmm.
We did say the Wizards, but we did a predicament that if he went to the Wizards, then they're gonna have to give up somebody.
Yeah.
I said give up Alex Sarr, keep AD.
Yeah.
And bring Giannis over there. That was my prediction. Giannis go there with Ja. I feel like if you bring Ja to hold on, what what are the teams on here that he could fit well with? I'd probably say Boston, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Boston probably would be a good fit.
Yeah.
What's another team that could fit well? What about Kings?
Kings, I can see the Kings.
Sacramento,
I can
maybe.
definitely see the King. Yeah, I can see the Kings. And a team that I just that's probably my head, and I think that I would not be surprised if this happens and everything. I'm not sure it'll be a really really good fit and everything, but I would not be surprised if Pat Riley pulls makes that trade to bring him to Miami to
Yes,
form a
yes,
three, form
yeah.
a big three with Giannis and Bam. So I mean, I would not be surprised to see Pat Riley making that move. But the question is, what would they give up? What would the
That's the
Heat give
thing
up?
too.
So
Yeah, I was just thinking that because if he goes to Miami, you're going to give up another piece
yeah,
just for Ja to be the point guard there. Because wherever he goes, he's going to start too. He's going to want to start. He's not coming off the bench. He's another
right,
star
yeah,
player. So he just needs to be around a vet.
yes,
He needs to be around a vet. And I think we also said L.A. too. If he goes to team up with LeBron,
yeah,
I feel LeBron would definitely put him in check.
absolutely,
I feel like if he was under LeBron, I think Ja would definitely be a little better. He would use more of his potential than running his mouth and stuff like
yeah,
that. He would definitely do that. Um. So yeah, I would definitely say Miami is probably a choice for him.
yeah,
Put me up with him with Giannis and Bam. That'd be a good trio. Okay, next one. Okay, so you already talked about Caleb Williams about going to Chicago.
yeah,
You already get your
yeah,
opinion on that. Keaton Wagler going to the Clippers. Top
yeah,
five.
yeah. I think I seen Keaton Regular play a little bit, at Illinois. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to do, I think he's going to help out the Clippers. And they have a good coach there in Ty Lue, who was a point guard himself and everything. And I just think that bringing Keaton Ragland in there will definitely help the Clippers and everything. I think Clippers are a team that they always come like, they're in it always and everything, but for some reason they just can't get over the hump. And I think that bringing him in, I think could help them. But again, it's going to be tough in the West. That Western Conference is a beast there.
Yeah, Western Conference has always been a major issue for the Eastern Conference.
Yep, yep, and so I think that I think it was overall pretty good pick and everything. He's a tall guard, 6'6". He was second ranked point guard and everything. The thing about it is, I'm looking at ESPN now. They just basically said that one of his weaknesses is that he has average length and needs to add physical strength to realize his full capabilities on both ends of the ball. Something he has time to address. I think that if he does that, then I think that the Clippers have a good player on their hands. That will help complement Kawhi Leonard. And their other players as well. So I think those are overall, I think, pretty good pick for them.
Okay. He's 19 years old. His current height is 6'6". So that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the next one. Okay. Michael Brown Jr. to the Brooklyn Nets. What do we know about Michael? Let's see what let's get him up here. Michael Brown Jr. Okay, he's 20 years old. He's 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Michael Brown Jr., 6'5" guard for the Brooklyn Nets. In college, he played for the Louisville Cardinals, averaging 18.2 points, 4.7 assists, and a 1.2 steals per game. Okay, he weighs 190 pounds. Let's go to ESPN. Let's look up his stats. Oh, he's using every stats right now. Okay. Let's look up his college stats. Michael from junior college. Okay. Oh yeah. So I was right. So, but here's the rest of it. So I already said he's averaging 20 points a game. He's averaging five assists a game, 3.3 rebounds a game, and 2 steals per game. He shot 41% from the field, 34.4% from the 3-point range. So 3 points are okay. And he's at 84.4% from the free throw line across 21 games. Key single game milestone scoring record exploded for 45 points against North Carolina State. This performance broke the ACC freshman single game scoring record and tied all-time Louisville single game scoring record held by Wes Unseld. 3-pointers knocked down 10 3-pointers in that game against NC State, setting a Louisville program record for a single game made threes. Awards and recognition named to the All ACC Third Team and ACC All Rookie Team. Claimed ACC Player and Rookie of the Week honors twice. He got some accolades behind him.
He does. Yeah, he does.
Okay.
He does.
Yeah.
So the Nets may have a good player on their hands and everything. I think one of the things that ESPN said, that he's a well-rounded offensive tool. He has a well-rounded offensive toolkit for a lead guard with good size and vision and transition in half court. His dynamic shot making ability from long range also points to major scoring potential as he matures. And one of the weaknesses they mentioned was that he sells for tough shots. And also he has room to better apply his size and play more physically on both ends of the floor and attacking the paint and embracing defensive matchups where he tends to be below average. So I think that I think he has some upside here. I think that he'll be a good contributor for the Nets.
Okay. Darius Akoff Jr. to Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, got a lot of guards that came out, and
a lot of guards.
Yeah, this is like the fourth. Yeah, the fourth straight. Guard that was that was taken and everything. Yeah, he can shoot the three. He shot 44% from three. So I mean, he could, of course, he can improve too, of course, and everything. But he's a dynamic and strong with the ball in his hands. Adapt at attacking his spots off the bounce and scoring at all three levels. The thing about it is that he's a lackluster defender. So he needs to improve upon, his defense. So I think that, that's some concern there in a lot of respects and everything. But from a scoring standpoint, I think that the Kings have someone that can become a good scorer in the NBA. But he's lacking some. He needs to work on his defense.
Okay. Kingston Flemings to the Atlanta Hawks.
I really like this pick for the Hawks. Yeah, he was. They called him the best all around athlete. Among first round guards, he's explosive downhill, and is an unselfish floor leader, and he's also a willing defender. I think that with that and everything, that's definitely a I won't say Trey's replacement and everything, but I think that he can be, somewhat similar to Trey being explosive. The weakness on him is that his jump shooting. He needs to improve. His jump shot. But as far as his athleticism and playmaking, I think this was a great pick for the Hawks, and this probably could be a steal for the draft.
Sure. Okay. So I just pulled up his college stats. So Kingston Flemings played one standout season of college basketball at the University of Houston in the 2025-2026, starting all 37 games as a freshman. So his stats: points 16.1 per game, led the team. Assists 5.2 per game, led the team. Rebounds 4.1 per game. Steals 1.5 per game. Field goal percentage 47.6. 3-point percentage 38.7. College accolades and records: first team All Big 12, earned All Big 12 honors in his lone collegiate season. Consensus All-America second team, became the first freshman in Houston program history to earn All-America honors. Single game scoring, set the Houston freshman single game scoring record with 42 points against Texas Tech. That's amazing.
It is.
Season record set the Houston freshman single season record for total points of 594, and was the only Division I player in the country to post at least 590 points, 150 rebounds, and 190 assists in a single season. Good Lord. And he's how tall? 6'4".
Yeah.
19 years old.
Yep.
And he a guard.
Yep.
What's going on with the NBA, man? All these guards coming in, man. It's a lot of guards.
Yep.
A lot. Hey, and that just shows that most of these teams need a guard.
Right.
Okay, Dallas, Morris Johnson Jr.
Yeah. National champion with Michigan. Tough. Has length and can play defense. He's a great defender. I think from the scouting report on him is that his offense needs to be improved. And also he's undersized for a center, so he most likely probably in the NBA with the Mavs, he most likely play the four, power forward.
Okay.
Yeah, he most likely will, and I don't see him as a true five. So but I think he does have some upside considering the fact that he is a good defender. I think that if he can develop his offensive game, I think Dallas will have a great two-way player there.
Okay. All right, Brandon Burries to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, I like Brandon Burries at Arizona when he played at Arizona. Combo guard, a solid shooter. He can play both ends of the floor, and for a 6'4" guard, he can rebound as well. He's a guy that can create shots for himself and for his teammates as well. He was the one of the things that ESPN said as far as weakness is concerned is that he is the oldest freshman in the draft and an average athlete for his position. He's not a naturally gifted point guard and is undersized for a wing. His appeal centers more on his immediate, well-rounded game than high-end projection. I think that with that being said, even still, I think he does have some upside. And I think that Milwaukee does have a good player that they can develop. After the Giannis trade, and that was one of those. I want to say that was one of those picks that went to Milwaukee. I want to say I could be wrong there, but I think overall, I think that was a good pick by Milwaukee.
Okay. Brandon Burries played one standout college season for Arizona Wildcats, starting all 39 games, during the 2025-26 season. The standout 6'4" guard averaged 16.1 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.5 steals per game, while helping the Wildcats reach the Final Four. The minutes he averaged 29.8 minutes per game, so he's probably getting like 30 minutes a game. Shooting splits, field goal percentage 49.1%. That's close to 50%. 3-point percentage 39.1%. 40%. Free throw percentage 80.5%. Accolades and highlights. Named to the All Big 12 first team and the Big 12 All Freshman team. Was a finalist for the Jerry West Award. Became one of the most efficient freshmen in the country, earning a spot in the lottery conversation prior to entering the NBA draft. Yeah, good pick.
Yep.
That's a good pick, and I love it.
Yep.
Okay. Next one. It's my personal favorite right here.
Yeah, I figured.
I already know it. Yaxel Lindborg to the Golden State Warriors. Phenomenal trade. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. And I'm gonna speak off on his behalf. So let me put my boy up real quick. Did you know that he has a hatred towards Draymond Green's Michigan State team?
Figured such. Yeah.
But he did say during his press conference that he's a huge fan of Kyrie, but he hates Steph Curry. But now he's got drafted by the Warriors.
Right.
And then Curry's comment was like, he hates what? That just means he gotta, you know what I'm saying? He gotta rough up the rookie a little bit. Show him what he got. Show him what he got. Okay. So let's go in college. Okay, so here we go. Yaxel Lindborg played 3 seasons of the NCAA Division I basketball, spending 2 years at UAB Athletics 2023 to 2025 before transferring to Michigan for his final season, 2025-2026. Over his college career, he averaged 15.5 points a game, shot 51.5% from the field. His year-by-year college career stats. Now this is final season in University of Michigan. Games played 40. He started 39. He had 39 starts. Points per game 15.1. Rebounds per game 6.8. Assists per game 3.2. Blocks per game 1.2. Steals 1.1. His awards: Big Ten Player of the Year, Big Ten Defensive Team, Midwest Region MVP, and NCAA National Champion. His 2024 to 2025 UAB Blazers: points per game 17.10, rebounds per game 11.4, assists per game 4.2. Awards: American Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year, First Team All AAC and AAC Tournament MVP. 2023-2024 UAB Blazers: points per game 13.8, rebounds per game 10.6, assists per game 2.1. Before his Division I career, he played at Arizona Western College. To dive deeper into his game logs, shot percentages, and college splits, you can view. Yep, that boy about to be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gonna start, but he definitely gonna get more minutes. He definitely gonna see the court.
Yeah.
He definitely gonna touch that ball. But I definitely want to see him because how tall is he?
He is 6'9", 240.
6'9", 240. At the NBA Draft Combine, he officially measured at 6'8", 1.75. So he's basically 6'8", 6'9", barefoot, and weight 241, paired with an impressive 7.3 wingspan and a 9 feet standing reach. So he's basically 6'9", 241.
Yeah.
With a 7'3" wingspan. Can we just? I ain't gonna like Golden State Warriors got to stand up real quick. We gotta. We love this. About time. About time we got somebody like that. Ain't he a national champion?
Yep.
In college, we need that. We need that. And go to state.
Yep.
You feel me?
And I told my wife about him. I'm told because she's a Golden State Warriors fan and everything, and she was watching the draft with me, and I was like, this guy is gonna be good for y'all, because you guys never really had a true like rim protector, and I think that and like I said, I'm a Lakers fan and all that stuff, and that's a rivalry there, but looking at it from an unbiased, position, this guy is, he may not start, but he's gonna have, a lot of minutes and everything, considering the fact that he is, good as he is, as far as from a defensive position is concerned, and I think his offensive game can, will most likely improve and everything, but. From what the Warriors need, as far as a defender is concerned, they got the right person right here. And like as you mentioned, he's a national champion as well. So I think that was a great pick, for the Warriors. Now I hated saying that to my wife and everything, but but the truth is the truth and everything. So
Okay. Yep, I love that pick. And here's another one that that everybody's gonna love. That everybody has been saying. The Wemby stopper.
Yeah.
Ade Mara.
Yes. 7'3", 255. This was a great pick for and OKC. I have to say this about OKC. Their GM is a true genius because he built this team, got draft capital, to keep, building and everything. And they say, the rich get richer and everything. And this is truly the case here because this guy, the Wemby stopper, as you said, 7'3", that size, 255, great touch around the rim, an outstanding passer, quick processor who excels playing out of two-man action. One of the things that he needs to improve upon is his conditioning, but overall, and I think that, and also his jump shooting, he needs to improve upon. But I think that, OKC has someone that, that can help them, against San Antonio, and Wemby, because Wemby dominated what's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but anyway, but I think this guy will be, and physical too. I think he's physical also. So yeah, this was a great pick by OKC. Holmgren, that's Chet Holmgren. That's who I was referring to because Wemby like Detroit Chet Holmgren. So I think that with him, with Mara coming in, I think that it's gonna be San Antonio and OKC, Denver, and all of them and everything. But I think OKC is gonna be, a better team, with Mara on the squad.
Do we see this rookie able to manhandle Wemby? Do we see it?
I think he'll be definitely compete with him. I think he can, stop in some ways. I think that with Wemby, I mean, I think this rookie, 7'3", 255, that's some very good size there. Wimby's what, 7'6", whatever the case is and everything, but he's very
7
light.
yeah.
Yeah, he's very light though, as far as weight is concerned and everything. And I think that showed in the NBA Finals. When there's times where Cat, pretty much abused him. But I think that if Wemby can gain some more weight in there, I'm excited to see those battles. I mean, granted, basketball has become the NBA has become a guard friendly league, but still the big men and also seeing the battles in the post and everything. I can't wait to see those battles there. I think that he will definitely hold his own against Wemby.
I am looking for that matchup. Wemby against a rookie that's about almost the same height as him. Nate Ament to the Milwaukee Bucks. What do we know about him?
So 6'10", forward out of Tennessee. I've seen him play a little bit. He has good size. First and foremost, that size. 6'10". You know, he has fluidity, perimeter skill, and shot making. For his size, he can hit the three. You know, I think that one of the things that he was inefficient scoring the ball at Tennessee, making just 43% of his 2-point attempts, and particularly struggling as a finisher. I think that if he really improves in that area, I think he can be somewhat almost on because he can hit the three. But if he can be consistent and near the basket, I think this guy can be almost unstoppable. You know, with his size.
Okay, so what I have here is that Nate Naiman played his college basketball for Tennessee Volunteers as a consensus five-star recruit out of Highland School in Virginia. He committed to Tennessee in April 2025 and spent his freshman season with the Volunteers. Ament played one season at Tennessee before entering the NBA draft. Below is a quick breakdown of his college career and highlights. His college, University of Tennessee Volunteers, position forward, 6'10", 211. Freshman season stats, 16.7 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, and 6.2 assists per game. Accolades, second team All SEC and SEC All Freshman Team. Career timeline, Ament declared for the NBA draft after his freshman year, where he was drafted in the first round by Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, that's another good one.
Yep.
That's another good one. I can definitely see that. Okay. Just so you guys let you know that we won't be able to do we won't have enough time to do round two. Round two will be next week Saturday.
Yep.
So guys, just want to let you guys know because it's a long list.
It is.
It's a long list.
It's a very long list.
We're about halfway done. We got two more names in the top 15, and we're gonna do the top 30, and then we're gonna close it off right there.
Yep.
Okay. Haynes Steinbach, Charlotte Hornets.
Yep. So Haynes Steinbach, 6'11", forward out of Washington. ESPN mentioned that he's arguably the top rebounder in the draft, as he led the country with 11.8 boards per game last season. He's productive, physical, has good touch and hands around the basket, and competes defensively. This dependability is strong sell for NBA teams. And it says here his weakness is that he's not a traditional rim protector, nor is he defensively versatile. So he might need to be optimized alongside a more agile shot blocking big man. He's developing his jumper, but most of his scoring comes from inside the paint. So basically, I think that he's a pretty good player, but he has some things to work on, especially on the defensive side. As far as being a rim protector is concerned, and also like I said, his scoring most clearly comes from the inside of the paint and everything, but expanding his game also. So I think it's a pretty good pick. I like his size, 6'11". I think he's going to be a really good rebounder in the league. But I mean, like I said, there's a lot that he can probably work on as far as from his offensive game is concerned, and being working to be that that rim protector also.
Okay. Okay, so we already brought this name up, Dalen Swain. Did we ever talk about Dalen Swain?
I, yeah, we talked about a little bit about Dalen Swain, but just
Okay.
real quick here because he did go to the Bulls and everything, and I think
Yeah.
another good pick by the Bulls. 6'8", a 6'8" guard, from Texas. You know, he can hit the three. But he struggles with his confidence from long range at times. He's not a polished offensive player and has to improve without the ball in his hands. He's a down low scorer and straight line driver. So I think with his size, I think he has really good size for a guard. 6'8". I think that when they said that he looks like the part as a two-way NBA wing, but he is
Yeah.
still a bit of a rough sketch and everything. So I think there's things that he can improve upon and everything. But I mean, it's interesting to see how the Bulls will use him. If he's gonna be a two guard or is he gonna be a three? So I'm interested to see you know um, how the Bulls will use him. But I do like the pick for them. I do like his size. For a guard. If they keep him at a guard.
Okay. Just just while you were talking, I had pulled up his career averages. I don't know if you want to hear. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. So Dalen Swain wrapped up a standout junior season as a primary playmaker and leading scorer for the Texas Longhorns, carrying them to the NCAA Sweet 16. The 6'8" forward started all 36 games, averaging 17.3 points a game, 7.5 rebounds a game, and 3.6 assists per game, while shooting an elite 54.2 percentage from the field. Now, I have his career averages. Let's go the way to his college team, Xavier. He had a 29 he played 29 games, 19 minutes, 4.6 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 1.1 assists per game, 45.9% for field goal. His field goal percentage was 81.3%. Following the 2024-2025, 35 games, 28.4 minutes, 11 points, 5.5 rebounds per game, 2.6 assists per game, 53.2% for the field goal, and field goal percentage went up to 81.7%. And then his season in Texas, which is his better stat line, 36 games, 32.8 minutes per game. So he had a higher minute count in Texas. He had a higher percentage in points per game with 17.3, higher rebound percentage 7.5, higher assist count 3.6, field goal percentage 54.2, free throw percentage 81.5%. He a good trade, good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick for what was it, Chicago? Yeah, good pick.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah.
Good pick. And this goes back to what we already discussed that the Chicago is definitely looking for something, and they're on the and they're really. I feel like the route that they're taking is good because getting a guy like Caleb Wilson and Dalen Swain, two really awesome picks. I would say.
Yes.
So I think Chicago, with all those picks and draft picks that they've gotten from other teams, so far has really laid it off. I would say that has laid it off, and Can't wait to see how Chicago is going to be acting like next season.
Right.
They
Absolutely.
won't they won't come out of top, but at least it's if they improve better than was last season, that means that they're getting there. They just have
Right.
more ways to go, but it's perfectly fine because you're trying to find that hidden answer to your equation on how you want to beat a team that was so trash becomes one of the top best teams.
Right.
So it's because the team hasn't really been that good since D Rose, and
Right.
so it really has been that good. So I would say that if they bring a vet in there, put that team together, find a player where they can focus around, build that team around one player, and they can progress and do good. So Dalen Swain is a really good pick. Bennett Sturts, OKC Thunder.
So I like this, for them too. They got a shooter, the best shooter, one of the best shooters in the draft. The only issue with him is that he lacks optimal burst and strength for an NBA ball handler. Sometimes struggling to get clean separation off the dribble. But I think that they're gonna most likely use him as a shooter. And again, OKC, the rich get richer. A shooter. Someone that can, come off the bench to give some quick energy. Offensive energy. Off the bench. So I think that I can see OKC using them in that way. So I think it's another good pick by well, actually he was traded to OKC from you know Memphis. So I think that another great pick up there for them.
Nice. Okay. Ibuka or Korea.
Corey, yeah, a bucket of
Corey.
Curry, from Stanford, 6'2", an elusive guard who plays low to the ground, and he is small. I mean, he with that size, I think that he reminds me more of Jalen Brunson with his size and everything because he is a smaller guard, but I think that one of the concerns about him is that he the level of passer, what type of passer would he be in the NBA? And his 3-point shooting is inconsistent also. So so it's gonna be interesting to see. He was a one and done player. I think that it would have probably helped him to stay in school, but I think he's here now, and I think that it would give him some time to develop. Like I say, he's a smaller guard, but I think he develops. I mean, he got traded to Detroit, so I think that he can develop pretty well. Other JB Bickerstaff and his staff and everything. So we'll see, but I think that I think it's a pretty decent pick. It's just got some things that he needs to work on, especially given his small slick size.
Okay. Christian Anderson Jr. to
Yep,
Charlotte Hornets.
yep, 6'3", 178. Um, I think this is why, well, I'm not saying it's why, but I think this will be a good, start for Charlotte as they, look to replace the metal ball. He's a great 3-point shooter. He can, does well in the pick and roll. You know, offensively, he's capable of managing the game and then making defenses pay from long range. Excuse me. Um, he's comfortable with him without the ball, and he makes most of the slides on defense. He's like I said, he's 6'3". He's a small guard for an NBA guard. He isn't that explosive. You know, but I think that he can be, very efficient. With the Charlotte, Hornets. Will he replace, the Ball when it comes scoring and doing everything? But that remains to be seen. But I think that I think this will be a good start, for the Hornets as they replace the metal ball.
Okay. Okay. All right. Next one. Alan Graves, Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, Alan Graves, so 6'9" forward out of Santa Clara. You know, I don't know too much about him. I never really seen him play, so I never really seen Santa Clara play. But from what I can see here from the ESPN app, that his college production popped heavily in NBA analytics models due to his well-rounded play in a connective supporting role at Santa Clara. He's a smart passer who's comfortable on the perimeter and made 41% of his threes last season. He has good defensive awareness that helps compensate for his lack of quickness. And the witness is that his foot speed. So, with that being said, I think he's someone that definitely needs development. He can hit like I said, he can hit the three. At a 41% clip. You know, um, but I think that he definitely needs. He's gonna be definitely needs some development there. With the Raptors.
Okay. Number 20, Spurs, Jaden Quaintance.
Jaden Quintons. Oh yeah, I like this pick too. 6'10" out of Kentucky. It's a forward. You know, great defensive upside, excellent length. He has the tools to excel as a play finisher and a rim runner. Capable of playing above the rim and bullying weaker bigs. The downside on him is that he's that's not a good outside shooter. And I think that's something that he can probably most likely work on.
He's
But
a
I
rim
think
protector.
yeah, but I think that as far as a from a player perspective, another big, I think San Antonio did need some another big there. Yes, they got Wimby and everything, but the add a 6'10", forward to the squad does not, hurt at all and everything. I think that definitely
Yeah,
helps.
yeah. It really,
That definitely help.
yeah, it really doesn't hurt at all because if you think about it, Wemby is 7'4".
Hmm.
Okay, and adding a 6'10", adding a 6'10" big, it's not gonna change anything
Right.
because you're adding more dominance to the Spurs, along with another member, but he's from UConn. So let me go and pull that
Yep.
and go back to the draft table. If we skim down to 26, when I was talking about, he's from UConn, Terrence Reed Jr. There's another
Yes.
one that they just added.
Yeah.
Another good pick.
Another, yeah, trade to San Antonio. Yep. Yeah, 6'11", 265, you know, um, rugged interior player with good hands, and I think the main thing for I think San Antonio, what they were looking to do is to bulk up their front line. Yes, they got Wimby, but they needed compliments to him and everything. And picking up, Jaden Quantens, and then also, trading for Terrence Reed Jr.,
Mhm.
6'10" and 6'11 respectively, that's gonna give them, some great size there, to complement, Wimby.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the 21 pick. Karam Lopez, Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, from Mexico. Haven't seen much of him, so I really honestly don't know much about him. But from what I can see here is that he's 6'9", 225 out of Mexico. He's a perimeter oriented forward with good feel who competes on both ends of the court. He's
Mhm.
tough, physical, active, which allowed him to impact games against much older pros in Australia in a significant role for the New Zealand Breakers. His profile is well rounded for a player his age, but he lacks an elite calling card skill, and he's not a good perimeter shooter or ball handling. And then that's something that he definitely needs, to improve upon. And then NBA teams expect him, to be the first, international prospect off the board. It's true. He's not a flashy player and everything, but I think he could be, an effective player, with, some development. So pretty decent pick, but again, this is a player that Jeff definitely needs development.
Okay. All right. LeBaron Philin Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 6'4" guard out of University of Alabama. I think this is a pretty good pick for the Sixers. To complement what they currently have there with Tyrese Maxey. I think he can be a great substitute for him. He has an excellent handle, which allows him to change speeds and comfortably create his own shot. Something that Tyrese Maxey does already. So him coming off the bench would be a great compliment and a great substitute for Tyrese Maxey there. So I think overall, I think the Sixers made a pretty good pick here with LeBron Philin Jr.
Okay. Zuby how do you say his last name?
Ejiofor? Yeah, Ejiofor looks like. Yeah.
Ejiofor is he got drafted to the Hawks.
Yeah, some to Hawks. Hawks got another pick here. 6'9" forward out of St. John University. Known for his length as he's a rebounder and defender. He has excellent length. But the key to him is that he's undersized, plays center, and he's still developing an outside shot. So I think he most likely in the league will probably be most likely a power forward. For the Hawks. I haven't seen him play much and everything in college, but being coached by Whit Pitino, I think really helped him, as a player. So I think the Hawks got a pretty good player here as well.
Okay. All right. Now this is the one that I've seen on my feed. Cameron Carr was originally supposed to go to the Knicks, but Knicks traded him to the Lakers. So now the Lakers drafted Cameron Carr.
Yep. Yeah, so Cameron Carr is a 6'5" guard out of Baylor. He's a scorer and a shot maker, and with deep 3-point range, I think something that the Lakers definitely need. They need more shooters. Especially from deep. Actually, also he's a good shot blocker. And has room to become a solid defender. One of the knocks on him is that he is still a streaky shooter who often relies on tough looks. Okay. He's not much of a ball handler or playmaker for his teammates. But overall, one of the things I do like about this, player for the Lakers is his 3-point shooting, because that's something the Lakers need and everything. And we talked about Dalton Knecht earlier and everything. And Dalton Knecht, to me, he's a great shooter and everything, but he's kind of been disappointing to me, from a playing perspective and everything. Yeah, so to add another shooter there, well, that will definitely help the Lakers on what they want to do.
Yeah. Sergio De Laura for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yep. Traded to the Dallas Mavericks, and so he's, like I said, from Spain. Haven't seen much of his game. Don't really know too much about him. But what I do know, he's 6'5" guard. He's an unselfish playmaker and capable shooter. He has skills and size to play on and off the ball. Again, this is someone that most likely will need development coming overseas, to play in the NBA game. He doesn't have a great athletic advantage defensively, but again, this is another player that can be look to be developed, as well.
Okay. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 more picks, and then we're gonna wrap it up, everyone.
Yep.
Boston Celtics, Chris Sinek Jr.
Yeah, I love his size, 6'11", 240. He came out of the University of Houston. You know,
Woo!
excellent length. You know, moves fluidly for his size. Has made strides as a rebounder. You know, he has also flashed natural. He has also flashed natural shooting touch, giving him an intriguing base for an NBA team to develop. At his age, bigs with physical profile don't come around in every draft. And so he hasn't been an efficient scorer, and I don't think, and he's still learning the game too. So again, this is another player that will, definitely need some development here. And I think that once he really develops, I think Boston will have, one of the top steals in the draft here. Like I said, I love his size at 6'11". So it's going to be interesting to see how the Celtics develop him and how they, utilize his minutes there.
Okay. All right. Joshua Jefferson, Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn got another player, 6'9", 240, this out of Iowa State. He's a very versatile, physical power forward with good vision who can handle the ball and play all over the floor offensively. So basically, he could be a point forward, if you need him to. He's also a smart team defender who wins extra possessions and strong enough to body up bigger forwards. The thing he needs to work on is his jump shot. His jumper is inconsistent, and his explosiveness as well. But I think overall, I think that the Nets are coming up with a young core. I think that Joshua Jefferson can be part of that, part of that core, and be a great, a good contributor to the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. All right. Sacramento Kings, Alex Caraban.
Alex Caraban from UConn, 6'8" forward, 230. Great fourth spacer, cutter, and ball mover. He's a heady role player who makes the game easier for his teammates. Um, Lacks optimal lateral agility and explosion for the NBA and won't create his own shot much. For it looks like here that he most likely will be, a role player. What it looks like to me. He's going to be a role player, but I think he could be an effective role player. He went to 3 Final Fours in 4 years at UConn. He won 2 national championships and was regarded as the heart of the program. He's already 23. But I think he could be, like I said, a role player that can be in the NBA for a long time.
Okay. All right, everybody. This is the last pick of the 2026 NBA Draft, Round 1. This is Koa Pete, Phoenix Suns.
Yes. I like Koa Pete. I've seen him play at Arizona. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's listed at 6'8", 235. Very physical, competitive. He can bully, on smaller players inside 15 feet. Very versatile on the defensive end. He can defend perimeter players and also can put strong enough to put a body on the bigs. The knock on him is that he is he lacks a reliable jump shot. And he's looked at as being undersized for a power forward in the NBA. There was some concerns about how his offensive game would translate to the NBA. But I like Koa Pete. Like I said, I've seen him play. I think he's an overall a great player. He was a great player at Arizona, and I think he's going to do well with Phoenix in the NBA. I think he will get some development there. I just think that with that development, with his size and everything, if he does become a 3, as opposed to a 4, then I think that he can do something in the NBA. But again, it comes back with these later round picks and everything. There's some development that needs to be take place there with these guys. They're not the top 10 or anything like that, but I think this is overall a good player for Phoenix.
Okay. All right, that is it for round 1 of the NBA Draft 2026. All right, we just finished our prediction, our reaction to the draft so far. I kind of wish I would have watched it. I didn't think it was going to happen too soon. After the NBA draft, after the NBA finals had already ended. But we've read off some amazing, great names and amazing, great players to these teams that are going to fit well with these teams. And judging by my calls, some of these players are really good players and will definitely, fit well and will shine and to be great with these teams. So, but there's more to go. We still have round 2 to go. Don't worry. Stay tuned for that for next Saturday, same time, 12 p.m. sharp. Hopefully Juice is out of the hospital soon.
Yes.
Again, take the time to, comment, praise for Juice. We'll let you guys know when he is out the hospital. Right now, Uncle Ron is there with him. Just checking up on Juice, and hopefully he'll be back with us sooner than later.
Yes.
But other than that, I appreciate you guys for viewing the live stream. If you are viewing this live stream, make sure you like, subscribe, put on post notifications to you, and make sure you hit that like and hit that bell. So if you see us go live stream, come on in with your snacks, water, whatever you gotta do. Just come and join and sit and hear about basketball. If you have any friends, co-workers, friends, or buddies, family members that watch basketball, that wants to know about basketball and wants to hear all the insights on what's been going on in the NBA, share them to them, have them come in and sit down and watch us talk basketball all day long. We speak nothing but the truth, and you're nothing but the truth. You got the facts behind it to prove it, and that is all. This has been the Basketball for Knowledge. I'm your co-host Aramis.
And I'm B. Howard. Thank y'all for joining us.
Yes, sir. See y'all Saturday for draft pick round 2. Love y'all. Have a blissful Saturday, blissful tomorrow Sunday. Love y'all. I will see y'all soon.
See y'all. Peace. God bless.